Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome back to Cinema Chazzy, the segment on this channel where I review the movies that I watch, whether old or new, classic or modern. I think some of those words there are synonyms, but you get the idea. It's been a good minute since I've done Cinema Chazzy. I think the last one was The Crudes, which was like back in the beginning of when I came back to YouTube, a couple of weeks ago, or probably several weeks ago at this point, And I have been meaning to do more movie reviews, but I've been getting caught up with other kinds of content here in the channel that's been making me get a little behind schedule with some of the other ones. So today I'm going to be returning to that, and it's a very strange day to record. It's a little bit late. It's like close to 4 p.m. and usually the sun is already starting to kind of fade at this hour, so the lighting might look a little bit more different than what you guys are used to, but still just bear with me here, okay, because I'm a little bit behind schedule, so I gotta try to give you guys videos whenever I can, okay? So every waking moment now I will be recording. Wow. So today I'm going to be talking about a very classic movie, and it's one that you can enjoy even if you're not a fan of basketball, It is, of course, Space Jam, starring the very, 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 very famous Michael Jordan, who played NBA for quite a few years of his life there. He was sort of kind of okay, he was an okay player, I mean, some say he was kind of like the best, but I think he was just okay. Yeah, nothing too special about him, So he won a couple of NBA championships, It's just not that big of a deal or anything, I mean, hey, this movie was obviously, much more up there on his resume. Fun fact, in order to prepare for Space Jam, Michael Jordan played professional NBA and won 3 different championships, So yeah, man, he was very well prepared for this role, So anyway, guys, now here's the thing. The thing with this movie is that I have already reviewed it before on my channel, so just to let you guys know, this is officially a remake of that review, I'm going to be doing it again because I freaking want to. I didn't like the way it came out the first time, okay, so that's why I'm redoing it now with better technology. So in case you guys have been living under a rock for the past few decades, Space Jam is a crossover between the Looney Tunes, and it's not even a crossover, it's literally just pretty much a Looney Tunes movie with Michael Jordan thrown in, So basically the Looney Tunes are not exactly kidnapped, but they are threatened by an alien race, that wants to enslave them to use them as attractions in this amusement park, And so they challenge the little aliens, which are like pipsqueaks in size. They challenge them to a game of basketball, thinking that they can win, But unfortunately, the Monstars, which their name is, they are already sort of kind of like one step ahead because they go there into the real world and they take not the powers, but they take the skills and the abilities of 5 professional NBA players who are, I'm sorry, I didn't memorize it, but it's written down here: Charles Barkley, Sean Bradley, Patrick Ewing, Larry Johnson, and Muggsy Bogues, who, by the way, that last one is the smallest NBA player who ever lived. I don't even know why he was even considered for this part, but anyway, so they take their skills and they become giant behemoths, who are very clearly more than a match for the Looney Tunes, and so they go to enlist the help of Michael Jordan, who at this point in the timeline, in the mythology of the movie, he is between his first retirement in 1993 and his return in 1995. So the movie pretty much happens around maybe like between that period, like 1994 more or less, when he was actually going to play minor league baseball, but more on that later. So yeah, they enlist the help of Michael Jordan because they know that he's the best, and they kind of need the best help that they can get. So why not get the greatest player who ever stepped foot on the court, right? And that's when the hijinks ensues. Now, before continuing, let's take a look at a clip here. God, I love this movie so much. Let's take a look at a clip here from it.
What's going on here?
You see, these aliens come from outer space. Hang on. They're little, so we challenge them to a basketball game.
What is basketball?
But then they show up. They're huge!
You heard of the Dream Team? Well, we're the Mean Team. We want to win. Let's play some basketball.
Okay, so why don't we go ahead and address the elephant in the room after watching that little piece of footage, huh? I understand, I realize, I am aware that the movie did not age very well in the, special effects department, okay? It is very cringy at times. It was probably cringy back when it came out, man, but today, it's a little hard to watch. It's a classic, don't get me wrong, it's one of the finest works by Warner Bros., but it's just, nah. Look, guys, I mean, it had a budget of $80 million and went on to eventually gross over $250 million, and of course, a lot of that success is attributed to the presence of Michael Jordan. You know, everybody knows this, okay? The movie is sort of lackluster in a few areas, but then again, it is the highest grossing basketball movie of all time, and it was the 10th highest grossing movie of 1996, so something it did right, and that something was Michael Jordan. But anyway, so the movie begins that way, you know, with this amusement park needing a few new attractions. It's in this alien world, you know. It's on this thing called Moron Mountain, you know, so they need new attractions. So they go all the way back, and for some reason they think that the Looney Tunes, who are very old at that point, you know, are going to bring them cash, but I don't know. That's what their line of thought is. So the Nerdlucks, which are the names of the aliens, right, they go to kidnap the Looney Tunes and take them hostage, you know, and that's when the Looney Tunes, when Bugs Bunny sort of presents the challenge for them to defend themselves, you know, and that's what kickstarts the whole entire thing, where they go to the real world to take the powers and become the monsters, you know, this and that. But anyway, things start to get very interesting when Michael Jordan does actually because when he actually does join the fray, you know, because it's a very strange way that we're introduced to him, because he's out playing golf with Bill Murray and Larry Johnson, you know, Larry Bird, who was also a former NBA player. So then he gets literally sucked into a hole, you know, where the golf ball would normally go to. He is pulled into the cartoon world, and he is still a regular human. He's still normal, you know. He didn't become animated himself. It's literally a real person in the cartoon world. And then this is where the movie immediately starts to get a little meh. Here's the thing, guys. This is not a very unpopular opinion. It's actually something that's very well known amongst everybody. Michael Jordan can't act. He cannot act to save his life. Like, what he had in basketball talent, he definitely lacked in, you know, cinematic talent, whatever the hell that is. You know, he didn't have any acting chops at all. So, you know, even already his first interaction with Bugs Bunny, you know, is very cringy, because he just says, well, you're a cartoon, you're not real. Like, literally exactly that way, you know. It's like, it's the cringiest interaction ever, but it's still far from the worst one that we see in the movie, you know. So then Michael, of course, begins to train the Looney Tunes in order for them to actually play basketball, because he needs them to win the game so they don't become slaves, right? Now, with Michael Jordan on their side, you might think, okay, well, they have the greatest NBA player of all time playing with them, so then this might as well be in the bag, you know? But this is a cartoon world we're talking about that operates with cartoon physics, so there are a few things that didn't really... you know, there are a few ways for you to bend the rules here and there. Like, I do believe one of the monsters comes in and he actually crumples up Jordan into a ball and then throws him around and stuff. Michael Jordan gets freaking smooshed into a ball and doesn't die, because I know when you live in a cartoon world, you can get by on cartoon physics and logic, you know. It's really nice to see all of the classic Looney Tunes together, you know, because I think that it would only happen again later in I think Looney Tunes Back in Action. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what that was the next that was in 2003 or so, right? But anyway, we're talking about this is like the late 90s, so I'm pretty sure the Looney Tunes were still popular. They still had a few standalone movies and animated TV series and whatnot, you know, it's all good. But anyway, so yes, Michael Jordan finally decides to train the Looney Tunes, you know. They rally up their friends, you know, and some allies, and they finally begin to train some b-ball with his Royal Airness. And that's where things do start to go slightly awry, which I'm going to get to after we watch this next clip.
You know that your friends are cartoon characters? Yeah.
And so the cringe just continues, huh? With each clip that I show, it gets more and more cringy. I know, I'm sorry, but that's just how life is, okay? So anyway, parallel to what I'm talking about now, there are events happening outside of the Toon World, you know. The 5 players who had their talent stolen, you know, they are completely incapacitated to play basketball. They start to completely suck, you know. They're missing free throws and not playing on defense, you know. They're just walking around like kind of mindless zombies, you know. So then what happens is that it starts to result in this national panic, because people think that it's a virus going around, you know. So it does culminate in the suspension of the NBA season at that moment, you know. Even though if you really stop to think about it, these players weren't really, like, in the late 90s, they were not Hall of Famers, you know. They were already sort of past their prime. You can go later to watch this video over on Film Theory talking about that, you know. It's actually a very interesting deep dive into it. And I think that explains a lot better this part here that I was gonna get into right now, you know. But eventually, you know, they start to try to restore their methods. They start to try to restore their skills through other methods, but to no avail, you know. They try everything they can, but unfortunately, it's just not happening. And Jordan's home life as well, because this movie tried to give Michael Jordan an ordinary home life as a regular guy, but it's really weird because you have to remember that in this universe, Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan. He is literally, it's a fictionalized version of himself, and he lives in a regular ass freaking house, you know, in a regular ass suburb with a wife who drives a regular ass little minivan, taking their kids to and from, I think, baseball practice or soccer practice or whatever, you know. And it's just weird, you know, because I mean, we're supposed to believe that this is Michael Jordan, right? So why doesn't he live in a mansion, you know, with servants and butlers and I don't know, man. But anyway, I think they kind of jumped the shark in this part here. But anyway, so now eventually they do start, the game does culminate. No, what? No, they eventually do come to the actual confrontation itself, you know, in the Toon World. And now there are very, very high stakes on the table. So basically, if the Looney Tunes win, then the Monstars are gonna have to return their skill and become the Nerdlucks again, you know, return the talent that they lost. But if they win, then the Looney Tunes are not only going to become slaves of Michael Jordan himself, you know. Jordan is also going to become an attraction on Moron Mountain. Yeah, man, I gotta admit that is a very, very amazing name, dude. Moron Mountain. But anyway, so yes, so then because of that, when the game starts, they start to play very, very dirty, the Monstars, you know. And again, guys, cartoon world, so cartoon physics, cartoon rules. It's not an actual real basketball game, but it is still pretty fun to see how they try to crush the Looney Tunes, you know. And there's a lot on the line here. They're about to lose Michael Jordan. He's going to become an attraction on the mountain, so even he wants to win, you know. But then here's the thing. At a very key moment in the movie, they are in the locker room and Jordan is trying to give a pep talk, and then they drink a little bottle of water that is labeled as Jordan's secret stuff, which is literally just water. There's nothing there, but it has a placebo effect, you know. It makes the Looney Tunes get more energy and feel like they're, you know, at the top of the heap now, and they have a lot more skill. So they start to freaking beat the Monstars' asses, but that's just it, right? It's not that the game starts to turn in their favor, it's because they start to cheat. They start to do things like use explosives and stuff and sabotage the Monstars, kind of like what they were doing to them. So it's pretty much the Monstars were having a blowout victory, but then the Looney Tunes started to get closer and closer, you know. There are a lot of continuity errors with the scoreboard, but I'm not going to get into that, you know. If you want to know more about the errors and the mistakes in this movie, go watch this video by CinemaSins, okay? They're the ones who point this out on the internet. That's not me, okay? But anyway, eventually, you know, the game culminates to the last few moments, right? And they are pretty much tied, so they need a basket to win. And that's when Jordan's secret stuff runs out. But he tells the Looney Tunes that it was literally just water all along, and that's the cliche movie moment, you know, where, you know, it came from within. You know, there was never anything, no secret stuff. The secret stuff was you all along. That kind of crap, you know. And then that's when they get inspired to try to play. But what ultimately decides it is, of course, Michael Jordan, you know, because he's the one who takes advice from Bugs Bunny and uses cartoon physics to stretch his arm from one end of the court to the other and score a dunk, you know, which wins them the game. Now, this moment here is iconic, sure, but of course, it's you know, I mean, like I said, you have to suspend disbelief. And dude, this is the moment where Jordan showed just how amazingly well he cannot act, because it's the moment where he talks to the boss, you know, the boss of the aliens. I forgot his name. It's written down here, Mr. Swackhammer, you know. He just looks to I'm not gonna be able to do this with a straight face, man. He looks at the guy and says, "Hey, you want a piece of me? Come get it." Like literally exactly that way, delivered exactly that way, man. It was freaking amazing. I love that line so much because, I mean, come on, okay, it's an athlete, you know, who have no prior experience in acting, okay, we get that, but still, I just think he could have at least gotten somebody to help him do at least that line a little better, man, you know? Because throughout most of the movie, it seems like Jordan doesn't even want to be there. It seems like he's just, you know, tolerating it. It's like he's just like, I don't know, it seems like he doesn't want to be there because he's acting so nonchalantly. But anyway, we can let it slide because it's Michael Jordan. So anyway, Yes, and then eventually the Nerdlucks return the talents to the NBA players, and then Jordan actually takes the ball where the talent is hidden, and all of them start to touch the ball and they get their skills back, you know, and then they play a little, I think it was like 3v3, no, there were 5 guys, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 3v3, they play a little with Jordan, and this actually inspires him to return to NBA, you know, in 95, so it's a fictionalized account of what happened. So in 93, Jordan retired, you know, to play baseball, then the Space Jam movie happens, you know, and then after the events of the movie, you know, in the movie's lore, in 95, he comes out of retirement, you know, so it's a nice little fit there. And boy, oh boy, was it quite a fit. So before I move on to the final stretch, let's take a look at one more piece of footage here.
How about we go out and kick some alien butt, huh? Mike, you go to the hole and dominate. We on defense. Whoa, I don't play defense.
Okay, so now let's get into the nit and grit of it, you know, a little bit of the production, the behind the scenes magic, you know. Now, unsurprisingly, this movie was very complicated to make, you know, and actually a lot of actors were initially uninterested in doing it because it just seemed a little, you know, bizarre. You know, I mean, I'm going to be working with animated characters and an athlete. How the hell is that going to work? You know, no, I don't want to do it. You know, that was the reaction of many actors, you know, although Bill Murray eventually signed on because I guess it's said that Michael Jordan, like, personally begged him to come on because he liked his work, you know. And all in all, production of this movie took a total of 19 months, you know, and about 10 of those months were actually filming the scenes, you know. And as you guys can imagine, you know, because it's a mixture of live action and cartoons, it was a little complicated to put them together. You know, there was a lot of work with green screen and motion capture, and a lot of the scenes Michael Jordan and the other actors were acting by themselves with nobody else around. Because, in case you guys don't know, and this is the late 90s, so the animation was actually put in there, you know, afterwards. So I mean, you can give Michael crap for acting badly, but then again, aside from not being an actor, he was acting with nobody. He was literally talking to nobody, you know. We only saw the Looney Tunes in the finished product. And also Space Jam, you know, it actually set the record for the most amount of composited shots in the movie, you know, FX special effects, you know, with about 1,043, you know. That's quoted directly from the source, you know, the most amount of composited shots in the featured film, dude. That's pretty crazy. Just to give you a little bit of a perspective, in the same year Independence Day came out, and it had a lot of special effects, you know, and in total, when you take the entire runtime, it had 700. You know, Space Jam had more effects, more special effects than Independence Day. If you've seen Independence Day, you know that that's quite a damn feat, you know? And that's about, you know, 2 hours or so of screen time, right? And so now, essentially, Space Jam was sort of like, I believe that the animators at one point had 8 months to animate 52 seconds of, they had 8 months to animate 52 minutes of footage, you know? So that's how it is, man. Making movies, you know, animated ones like the ones that Pixar do, they are not easy. They are really, really not easy, you know? It's actually kind of egregious how it works. But anyway, there was something else that I was gonna say. Oh yes, and because Michael Jordan was at the time already in retirement, you know, he actually had to train, right? So the production team actually got NBA players, you know, who were still active at the time, you know, some of his old friends too, you know. We had like Magic Johnson, you know, and a few other players, you know, even the ones who were in the movie, I believe, they were called in to help him train, you know, get back into shape, you know, because he was already out of basketball for over a year at that point, you know. I think he was already playing baseball, so you know, he needed to get back into shape. He needed to get back into to get up his fitness, you know, his endurance. So they trained with him for hours a day just for him to film this movie, you know. It was actually nice, you know, because it was nice to see his old friends again and stuff, you know. I'm pretty sure he enjoyed the hell out of that. But anyway, guys, I think that's all I can say, you know. There are a few other things here involving production, but I don't think I'm going to get into them because it's just going to get too complicated. I am just talking about the movie after all, so, you know. They did also do a lot of experimentation though with motion blur, you know, and creating 2D characters. There's actually this thing that says here that for the scene in the end when they had all of the they had all the characters watching the final basketball sequence, you know. They used a mixture of live action extras, cloned animated crowd members, you know, and also a few CGI characters walking around the aisles, you know. So yeah, and whenever it involved camera movements, there were some 2D extras added to reflect this, you know. It did. There was also elements of ray tracing that kind of minimized the work. But anyway, it was one hell of a movie to make, okay. And it did not age very well, but it is still enjoyable. It's a cult classic, at least in my generation. I'm a 90s kid, so you know, Space Jam is synonymous with my childhood, you know, and I really liked it a lot. And if I had to give it a rating, dude, honestly, I mean, okay, so it wasn't perfect, okay, it wasn't like the best movie ever, and because of its flaws, it's hard to give it a perfect rating, but because it represents so much to me, you know, I think I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10. Yes, Space Jam to me gets a 9 out of 10 because it's still very entertaining. Despite not having aged very well, it still holds up very well, you know. But there are a few flaws that are hard to overlook. You know, the special effects have aged very poorly. Different than Jurassic Park that came out 3 years before, that aged incredibly well, you know. So yes, 9 out of 10 is my final rating for Space Jam, okay? And that's it, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this review. It seemed to have come out a little bit better the second time around. You know, I gave you guys a little bit more info, you know. And it's crazy, man. It's crazy when you stop to think about it, because there were so many sacrifices for this movie to be brought to the big screen, you know. Like in just a week of production, Warner Bros. Already saw that they were in over their head, so they started to bring help from other production companies and studios, you know, because they could not do that themselves, you know. And it's nice. It's a testament to what filmmaking was in the 90s. And that's it. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this movie, if you've seen it, and if you haven't, oh boy, I just realized that I probably should have said this at the beginning of the video, right? Spoilers ahead. You gave yourself a bunch of spoilers, but then again, I don't even think I should, because it's a movie review, so you know there always will be spoilers. I don't think there's any reason for me to say that there will be any. But anyway, that's it, guys. I'm gonna go, and stay tuned, because my next video is gonna be something directly related to this one, and it's gonna be something that I've been working on for a while now, and hopefully it comes out just as good, okay? And that's it for now, guys. If you happen to like this review, please go ahead and give it a like, and also subscribe to my channel, because I release videos every single day. And while you're at it, might as well hit the notification bell too, to know exactly what time I upload, because I've been trying to give you guys videos every day again, and so far so good. It's working out, but let's hope that I can maintain the consistency. And that's it, guys. This is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Roll the final clip and then the outro screen.
Special delivery!
That's all, folks.
Can I go home now?